So again, good morning, everyone. If anyone just joined in, my name is Dan Lenahan. I'm the Marketing and Training Manager at vFlyer, and I'm going to be leading today's webinar, which is the 5 keys to an amazing website. Amazing website, excuse me. Looks like we've got a good turnout today, so that's great. Before we go any further, I just want to let you know that I have you all on mute, and I'm going to leave you on mute during the duration of today's webinar. That's just going to reduce background noise. I think it'll make things go a little more smoothly. As I mentioned before, you have a questions section in your GoToWebinar control panel. So I do want you to ask questions. So please send in your questions. I'll try and keep an eye on that as I go along so I can answer your questions as you have them. But we'll do a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. Okay, so again, today we're going to be talking about 5 things that you can do to really make your website stand out, to make it look really good, and to make it work really well for your site visitors. Now, of course, this isn't an exhaustive list. There are more than 5 things that you should do to build a really good website and maintain it. But I've picked out what I see as the 5 most essential things, and I think these are 5 things that are pretty easily doable excuse me, if you put some thought and a little bit of effort into creating your site. So, I'll go through the 5 keys right now, and then we'll spend some time on each one, look at some examples, and I'll show you in some cases how you would do certain things in vSites. But what we're talking about today really goes beyond vSites. It's about web design generally. Okay, so the first key is make your website attractive, and there's a good reason that's first. It's about creating a first impression. People are a visual species. Humans are a visual species, so we respond to how things look. You can have a website that has a lot of great content, and if it looks terrible, it's not a good website. So you got to think about how the website looks to the people who get to it. The second key is make your website easy to navigate. So you want people to be able to find what they're looking for and get to where they want to go on your website really easily. And I suspect that there are pages on your site that you want to direct people to, maybe more than others. So you want to make it especially easy for them to get to those pages. Number 3, put the important stuff above the fold. And we'll talk more about what that means when we get to that part of the webinar. Number 4, make your site interactive by using social media. This is maybe the biggest and trickiest one of these 5 keys. So we'll spend some time talking about social media, how you can best integrate it into your website. And then number 5, keep it current. So you want to make sure that the content on your site is up to date. That's really important in terms of maintaining your site. So again, we're going to talk about all 5 of these things in some detail during today's webinar. It's going to last about a half hour. If we go a little over, if you have lots of questions, which I hope you do, that's certainly fine with me. On the same token, if you need to leave the webinar a little early, not a problem. Again, we're going to be recording the whole thing and posting that to our Help Center. All right, so key number 1, again, make it attractive. Again, it's about creating a first impression. And a good picture, a good image, is more likely to create a good first impression than, say, a block of text. Even a beautifully written paragraph is not likely to have the same effect as a beautiful photograph or a beautiful illustration. So I think, and this is based on my research, looking at a lot of different websites, both good and bad, I think the best way to do this, and in some ways the easiest way to do this to make your site attractive, is to keep it simple, keep it clean, and privilege pictures over text. So in this slide you can see an example. This is a site that someone built using vSites. So it's for a townhouse complex. And this is the home page, or this is the top half of the home page. And you can see it's visually pretty simple. They've got their logo, which is very nice and elegant. They've got their site menu at the top, so the different tabs for the different pages on their site. And then you've got this picture below, this surprisingly, I think, beautiful and artistic photo of this townhouse complex. And I think it works really well, and it creates this great impression of this community. They've also used a really nice background color that complements the picture well in the logo. So you can see there's just not a lot of content on this page. The picture is the main focus, and again, it's a really nice, striking image. And sometimes that's all you need. You don't need a lot of text. It doesn't need to be crowded. In fact, much better if it's not crowded, if there's not a lot of content on it, but it's arranged thoughtfully. So this is a good example that I really like. Now, I often tell users of VSites, especially new users, instead of building your website and then trying to figure out how you want it to look while also trying to learn VSites, I often say step away from the computer, pull out a blank sheet of paper and a pencil, and draw out or sketch how you want your homepage to look, just your homepage. Because I think it's a lot easier to kind of get a vision for how you want your site to look when you're working on paper rather than on the computer. And that's just me. I mean, you might find it to be different, but you know, this slide shows a very rough sketch of a homepage. You can see it's pretty ugly. I tried to do this on Microsoft Paint, and it's even harder to write out text than it is using a pen and paper. But you get a sense of how this page is going to be organized. You've got the header with the logo, the tabs for the different pages on the site, a video on the left, text next to it, and then a slideshow on the right. And you've got some social media logos or icons below. So again, it doesn't need to be pretty, but I think this is really helpful. Once you have this sketch or mock-up, then you have something to work from. And then you can figure out, okay, how do I turn this into my actual website? And the nice thing about VSites is it's a really flexible application. So you can do just about anything in terms of content and design with it. And if you ever need help translating your vision for your site into the actual site, you can take a look at our Help Center. We've got a lot of great articles about how to do that. You can also call or email our support team. And that's really why we're here, is to help you create the site that you want. Okay. It sounds like some people are still having issues with the audio echoing. Unfortunately, I'm not sure, since each audio system is different. Maybe just try turning the volume down. See if there are any audio settings on your computer that you can adjust to get rid of the echo. But sorry about that. All right, another part of making your website attractive is to use consistent branding on it. So there are a couple benefits to using consistent branding. One, it just, again, it gives the look of your site some uniformity, again, consistency. It also goes a long way toward establishing credibility. So if a visitor to your site sees that you have a nice logo, nice branding, and then it's applied consistently across your site, it's more likely that they're going to feel better about doing business with you than if you don't have any branding on your site or if it's used inconsistently. So if you have one logo on one page and then a completely different logo for the same business on another page, that might seem a little weird. It's also nice when the branding kind of fits with either your business name or the type of business that you're in. So in this example here, we have another apartment complex, Stonewall Villas. And I don't know if it's a logo or just an image that they use, but they use this nice kind of abstract Stonewall image below their logo. So I really like this example. And it just, again, it makes sense because they're Stonewall Villas. So if you don't already have a logo, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good investment to have a designer create one for you. Because then you can use that not only on your website, but on your business cards, on your letterhead. You can use it across all of your marketing materials. And it's really important in terms of establishing credibility for your business. And once you do have your logo, you want to make sure that you're using it on your website. And again, using it consistently. Okay, so we've gone through making your site attractive, and certainly there's more to it than that. And if anyone has any questions about exactly how to make your site attractive, make it look good, feel free to send those in. But let's move on to the second key to building an amazing website, which is to make it easily navigable. So again, people should be able to find what they're looking for on your site with little or ideally no difficulty. So you want to make it really easy for them, and you want to organize your site really well. Now the example shown on this slide I really like, because she's got not only a site menu with tabs for the different pages on her site. This is Angela Hall, a makeup artist in Chicago, by the way. She's actually our VSites All-Star for January. So she built this really nice website. We did a blog post about it last week. Anyway, so she's got her site menu at the top, but what I really like is that she's picked out the 4 pages on her site that she most wants to direct people to. So she's got bridal, commercial, blog, and services. And she's added sections or added modules for each down below. And there's a big picture under each. And I can click on any one of these pictures to go to that page. And if I go to my browser, I'll show you actually how that works. So when I click the bridal picture, I go to the bridal page. So again, it's not there's actually no text beyond these headings above the pictures on this page. It's very visual. She's made it really easy for people to get to the pages that she wants them to go to, and also to get to the pages that they want to go to. So I think this is a great example of making a site easy to navigate. Now, when you're thinking about organizing your site, you want to think about how you arrange and structure your site menu. So the site menu is that bar of tabs for the different pages on the site. We sometimes call it site menu. We sometimes call it navigation bar. In any case, that's kind of the main organizing tool for your site. A couple things to think about with the site menu. One, utilize drop-down menus to keep the site menu clean. So you can see in this rent group example, we've got the site menu with tabs on the top. And then if I mouse over the apartments for rent tab, I get this drop-down menu, and I've got a couple other pages on this drop-down menu. So if your site has a lot of pages, you don't necessarily want a separate tab for each page on the site menu, because then you'll get 2 rows of tabs. It's going to look a little bit cluttered. So better option is to kind of group pages under one umbrella page. So for instance, apartments for rent. I can schedule an appointment. I can apply online. So these are both related to the apartments for rent. So you get the picture. If you want to create these drop-down menus, I'll show you how to do that. So here we are in the site editor. And right now I'm mousing over the site menu, or again, navigation bar. They both mean the same thing. When I click Customize and then mouse over Edit, I can click Menu Items. And this allows me not only to rearrange my site menu items like this, but I can also, if I indent one under another, then it becomes a drop-down menu. So now if I save, okay, so I put News under Listings. So now when I mouse over Listings, I've got this News drop-down menu, or I've got this drop-down menu with a News tab, and that goes to my news page. So again, that's useful if, particularly if you have a lot of pages on your site, because that way you don't need to have a separate tab for each of them. Similarly, if your site has a lot of pages, consider a vertical site menu or a vertical navigation bar. That's what this image on the bottom of this slide shows. And the benefit there is, rather than laying the page tabs side by side horizontally, a vertical site menu lets you stack them. So you can actually fit in more of these page tabs on the page, and it can give you a more kind of elegant, organized look. Now, only a couple of, I believe only a couple of our vSites themes come with vertical navigation bars. I think the rest come with the horizontal navigation bar. But if you want to add a vertical navigation bar or site menu to your site, you can do that regardless. If we go back to the site editor, if you go to your add module screen, under content, or no, sorry, under navigation in the middle here, if you click the button that says see more, you'll see you've got horizontal navigation and vertical navigation. So if I want to add a vertical navigation module, I'll choose vertical navigation and then click next. And let me see. Oh, yeah. Right now I need to click choose saved menu. And I'll choose main navigation. So that's just going to show the same tabs that I have on my horizontal navigation bar. And now I'll save. And it's not really in the right place, but you get the picture. So I can move this to the left side of my page and kind of restructure the page to make this look nice. But this shows you that you can add a vertical navigation bar even if you don't have one already in your vSites theme. And another thing to consider with the site menu is the arrangement of the page tabs. So I know for me, I always like to have the Contact Us or Contact Me tab to be the rightmost tab. So that may be just a personal preference, but you see that a lot. Same with the About Us. I prefer to have that just to the left of the Contact Us tab. And you can rearrange these menu items, again, just by clicking Edit Menu Items and dragging a menu item to the spot that you want it, and then dropping it there. Okay. And so now Contact Us is switched with About Us. So you get the picture. Okay. All right, key number 3. Show the important stuff, the most important stuff on your site above the fold. And by above the fold, I mean when you first get to a website, it's what shows on the page before you scroll down. So you want people to see the important stuff on that page without having to scroll down. Doesn't always necessarily work out that way, but ideally, I think that's a good approach. And you also want to be and sorry, going back to above the fold, that of course refers to newspapers. So, newspapers, they want to show their most exciting stories on the front page above the fold so that people see them immediately. So that's what that means. Same thing applies to a website. You also want to be scroll conscious. And by that, I mean the scroll bar on the right side of the browser. So one of my internet pet peeves is when I get to a website and the scroll bar starts shrinking, and then it just keeps on shrinking. And I know that to get to the bottom of that page, I'm going to have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. I don't like that, and unless I'm really interested in what's on that website, I'm probably not going to spend much time on it. So again, that may just be a personal thing for me, but I think it's a good thing to keep in mind the length of your pages, and you don't want to stuff too much content onto any one page and make people have to scroll a lot. You can see in this example on this slide, the scroll bar here is quite long, and I wouldn't need to scroll very far at all to get to the bottom of this page. So I think this is a really nice example. I mean, you pretty much see all of the unique content on this page above the fold. So you've got 3 columns of text here. If I were to scroll down, actually, I think I have the real website up. So you can see it's just a footer and then a disclaimer at the bottom. But this is a really, I think, nice example of being scroll conscious. And one of the ways that they achieve that is they use a relatively short splash image here. So it doesn't push the rest of the text down. And actually on that point, if we go back to, whoops, where am I? Okay. If we go back to the first example that I showed you, the Floyd Street Townhomes. Again, I love this website. I think they did a great job designing it. But my only problem with the site is that they use this same photo on each page. So if I click through to these different pages, unless I scroll down, I'm not going to see the unique content on this page. It's just going to look the same, and I'm just going to see this same image. So, if I had one recommendation for them, I'd say only use this image on the home page of the site. Either don't show an image on the other pages or show a significantly shorter image. But again, I love the site, just to put that out there. Okay, going back. Okay, so again, show the important stuff above the fold. Don't try and put too much onto one page. Spread it out over your different pages. Think about what makes sense to put on each page of your site and try and organize it in a thoughtful, aesthetically pleasing way. And again, if you need to add pages, think about using those drop-down menus on your navigation bar. Okay. All right, key number 4. Make your site interactive by taking advantage of social media. So again, I mentioned this before, but this is probably the biggest and trickiest of these 5 keys. Social media, I mean, it's a whole topic unto itself. We've actually done webinars just on social media and how to make your site social. I think we have one posted to our Help Center and to our blog. So if you're interested in learning more about that more in depth, take a look at the recording of that webinar. I think it's from December. But the fact is the web is becoming more and more social, and social media is increasingly defining the internet. So I think from a business perspective, that's a positive development. It opens up a lot of opportunities for communicating with customers in a new way, for finding new business and helping new customers find you. So I think there are a lot of positives about the direction that social media is taking the web. And I think as a business owner, or if you're building a website for a business owner, it's really important to bring in social media into the site. And I think there are a couple of main reasons for that. First, it shows visitors to your site that you are quote-unquote with it, that you're current, that you're up on the latest technology. And I just want to put out there, if you're not on Facebook or Twitter or Google Plus right now, if you don't use any of that, I don't mean this as an insult. I don't mean to say that you're not with it. It took me a while to embrace Facebook, for instance, so I get it. And also, depending on the business that you're in and the audience that you are targeting, I mean, in some cases, it's going to be more valuable and more important for you to bring in social media to your site than in other cases. So keep that in mind. It's not right now a requirement that every website have Facebook and Twitter content on it. I just think increasingly that's going to be an expectation of people visiting websites. So certainly something to be aware of. And again, there are a lot of benefits to doing that. So again, shows people that you're with it. It also helps establish a connection and build a relationship with your site visitors. So I know when I get to a website, I like to see either a Facebook icon on the site or a Twitter icon or some sort of indication that the company is on Facebook, uses social media. I may or may not click through to their Facebook page. Often I do, sometimes I don't. But in any case, it's reassuring to me to know that that company sort of cares enough about its business and about its customers to engage with them through those channels. So, I think it has an impact regardless of whether someone clicks through to your Facebook page or your Twitter feed or your Google Plus page or not. Now, this slide just shows a few examples. On the left, we have a Twitter stream from a real estate agent's website. So this is a module that is available in VSites. To the right of that, we have a couple examples of a Facebook like module that's been added. So with that, you can just add a like button on your site so people can like your Facebook page right from your website. And right now, Facebook likes are hot currency on the web. So you want to build up the number of people who like you. It's a sign of credibility. It's just generally good to kind of build up your number of likes. And then the new guy in town is Google Plus. So you can see below, we've got Google Plus. You can add a badge to your website. If you've set up a Google Plus page for your business, you can add a badge for it, and people can add your Google Plus page to their circles. Now, we're actually going to be doing a Google Plus webinar next week. So I think it's next Wednesday. Take a look at our website. If you're interested in learning more about Google Plus, just what it is, how you can use it, I'd encourage you to attend that webinar. But anyway, these are all things that you can do on VSites, and again, it'll make your website more fresh. I think just a better user experience generally by bringing in your social media content. Now, I guess one word of caution when you're thinking about integrating social media into your site, it does take work. So you have to stay on top of Facebook, of Twitter, of Google+. If you don't, it may actually have a negative effect. So for instance, if you add a Twitter, let's say you open a Twitter account, you do a couple tweets, you add a Twitter stream to your site. If you stop tweeting and someone then gets to your site and sees that your last tweet was 6 months ago, instead of it seeming fresh and the content seeming fresh, it's going to seem like, I don't know whether this business is still in business or not, kind of thing. So if you're going to commit to it, make sure that you're ready to post on a regular basis. If you don't think you can do that, then maybe hold off and focus on the things that you can do and the things that you can maintain on a regular basis. Now, I mentioned one or two social media modules that we offer with VSites. I wanted to point out a few others. There's the Facebook Like module, and that, again, adds a like button to your website. This requires having a Facebook page for your business already. The Twitter module shows your most recent tweets. By default, it shows your 3 most recent tweets. And as you add new tweets through your Twitter feed, those will get updated on your site automatically. The social media toolbar is one that allows you to add icons for different social media sites. Excuse me. To your website, you can actually link each of those icons to your pages on those sites. So let me see if we have an example. Let me go to this site that another VSites user created. They have a real estate company in Georgia, and you can see under their header and to the right of their site menu, they've got a Facebook icon and a Twitter icon. And so each of these is linked, the Facebook icon to the company Facebook page, the Twitter icon to the company Twitter feed. You can also add icons for YouTube, for Yelp, Google+, the biggest social networks. And that's a great way of connecting people with your social media sites. And again, it just, seeing these icons on the page, for me, it's reassuring. It tells me this company is current, care about their customers, so it has a good effect in that way. The RSS module, that helps you, or that enables you to connect your site to your blog, or your blog to your site. It basically lets you pull in each new post that you post to your blog into your site, and it does that automatically. So that's the RSS module. And then finally, we have a JavaScript module that is, it basically allows you to add JavaScript to your website. And so this covers many other kind of social media integrations. So for instance, with Google+, if you want to add a +1 button to a page on your site, you get the JavaScript code for the +1 button, and then you add a JavaScript module and paste that code, and that allows you to add that to your site. Same thing with, if we go back, this add to circles, Google+ badge. You can get JavaScript code for this as well. You would do that through Google+, and then you could add that to your site using a JavaScript module. And again, if anyone wants to see how any of these modules works, just let me know, and I can demo that. I'm falling behind on time a little bit, but fortunately we're pretty close to being done. All right, the fifth and final key to building an amazing website is to keep it current. So I was trying to think of a good analogy for website maintenance, and the best one that I came up with was a website is like a potted plant, and for it to thrive, it needs regular care. So it's not like a baby where you need to give it constant attention and care. But you have to water it, once a week or twice a week. You have to keep an eye on it, make sure it's healthy. So a website is kind of like that. Ideally, it shouldn't be something that you're doing constantly. You want it to kind of work for itself and work for you. But again, to keep it fresh, to keep it current, you have to put in some work and some time to it. And with these sites, we've tried to make that really easy and tried to automate as much of that as possible. So for instance, in this slide on the right, you see a picture of a listings module. And with the listings module, it pulls in listings from your Associated V marketing account into your website, and it does that automatically. So each time you add or remove or update one of your flyers, one of your listings, those changes get reflected on your website. So that's one way of keeping at least your listings on your site current without having to do much work for it. A couple other examples. I really like this this bottom picture. This is the header of the website of a guy named Dennis Favilla. He's a consultant and career coach in Maryland. And I just came across his site again the other day after a couple months, and I saw he added this 2012 is your resolution to further your career image to his header. So that tells me he's updating his site regularly. He has something that is timely on his site very prominently. So that's really good. That's a great example. You can also add, I guess, promoting specials. If you're a retail store or an apartment community, that's a great way of keeping your site current. This image on the right here shows a button that says Summer Move-In Special, first month free. Now, given the time of year that we're in, this is actually maybe a better example of how not to keep your site current. So if I come across a site that has this and it's the end of January, I'm going to think this site hasn't been updated in a while. If this were June or July, then it would be a better example. But this is just, it's a picture module, I think, and you can actually link any picture module that you add to a page on your site or even an external page on another website. So again, the point is keep your site fresh. There's no kind of one formula for this. Every website's different. Every situation's different. But you just want to make sure your site is up to date, is current, that you're adding some new content to it, either manually or automatically through, a Twitter feed or a listings module. Okay, so to summarize the 5 points that we talked about today, first, you want to make your site attractive. Keep it clean, keep it simple. Again, privilege images over text. That's my recommendation. Number 2, make your site easy to navigate. Utilize your site menu thoughtfully, effectively. Use drop-down menus. Use a vertical site menu if you need to. And again, arrange the tabs on the site menu in a thoughtful way. Number 3, show the important stuff above the fold. So make sure people can easily see that important stuff, and be scroll conscious. Don't try to stuff too much content onto one page and make it really long. Again, use your the pages at your disposal and use your site menu to organize those pages. Number 4, utilize social media and incorporate it into your site. So again, big topic. If you're already on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google+, definitely want to bring that content into your site if you're posting on a regular basis. If you're not using those channels yet, I'd encourage you to take a look at least opening or starting a Facebook page. I think that's a good place to start, and then you can see kind of what's involved in maintaining that. Number 5, keep your site fresh by keeping the content on it current. So building the website is a lot of the work, but it's not all of the work. You need to get in there on a regular basis, update the content, make sure it's up to date. So those are my 5 recommendations. And again, I picked these largely because I think they're the most essential things that you can do, and also I think they're all really doable. Again, there's a lot more to creating a great website than just these 5 things, but these I think are at least a good starting point. So at this point, I am happy to answer any questions that anyone has. So I know we went over a lot of stuff in a relatively short amount of time today. So anyone have any questions? Or does anyone want to see how to do anything in vSites related to what we discussed? We'll give people another minute or so to send in any questions that they have. All right, well, if no one has any questions, that's okay. Looks like we have maybe a couple questions. Spoke too soon. Okay. First question, is there a problem using Flash in a module? I guess there are a couple ways that you could interpret that question. If you're talking technically, is there a problem using Flash? No, we have a Flash module that you can use. So on your add module screen, you'll see Flash as one of the options. Flash is just a format, a certain format for content. So you can integrate Flash into your website. You can also, you don't need to use the Flash module. You can add Flash to the freeform editor, to other module types that support video, for instance. I guess the only issue with using Flash is Flash is not supported on the iPad or the iPhone. So if you're concerned about that, then I would look to a different format than Flash, because it's not going to show up on those devices. But otherwise, there should be no issue with that. Okay. how can I add a logo and reduce the size of my splash image? Good question. Okay, I assume you mean add a logo to the header of your site. So I'm going to take that as the assumption. If that's not correct, just let me know. All right, so let's talk about adding a logo. So for that, I think the easiest thing to do, again, if we're talking about adding it to the header, I recommend mousing over the header and then clicking Add Module. And then what you want to do is add a picture module. And so we're going to upload a logo image. So I'll click Next. Let me see if I have any images in my image library that I can use. Doesn't really look like it. Okay, so I'm going to upload any old image. So we'll choose that one. Okay, so now we've uploaded our image. Click Save and Add to Site, and we'll call this a logo module. And it's always a good idea to name your modules before you add them, and to give them a name that you'll be able to recognize later in case you want to use that module again. Okay, so I've added the logo. It's way blown up. So I'm going to click Settings first. And instead of auto size, I'm going to choose manual, and then I'm going to adjust the dimensions. So I'm going to do 50 pixels instead of 400. And that should, yeah, that reduces the size significantly of this logo. It's maybe even too small. And now to add it to my header, I'm going to click this Layer tab. And that puts it on my header. And now if I click Customize again, click Reposition, I can move it to the spot where I want to add it. So if I want to put it right below the phone number, I click Save, and there it is. Okay, as far as the splash image, let me see. I was actually trying to figure this out before the webinar because we recently added a new splash image module, and that's what you're seeing here. And the benefit of the splash image module is if I mouse over it and click Reposition, I can drag and I can choose a different part of my photo that I want to show, and then click Save. So the idea is if you have kind of a large, tall photo, this allows you to kind of choose, not show the whole thing, but choose a different part of it to show. I wasn't able to reduce the height of this splash image, so that's something that I need to figure out how to do so, before I lead the next training. I know on the other pages of at least this site, it uses a shorter picture module, so a shorter splash image. So it may have to do with the page template. But you know, again, if that's something that you're concerned about, the height of your splash image, and the splash image module doesn't address that, best thing to do is it'd probably be to email or call our support team, and they can help you with that. All right, is there a way to change the font of the title without having to change the theme? There are a couple ways that you can do that. If you're talking about switching the theme and not editing the theme, you can edit your theme by clicking the Settings tab at the top, clicking Edit Theme, and that opens up what's called the Theme Editor. And if you look on the left, there are tabs for the different sections of the page. So if I click the Header tab, if I want to change the font of my company name, I can just click this Font Family drop-down menu, change the font, and then save. And I can do the same thing for the slogan, the phone number, and finally click Save and Close. The other way you can approach it is by using the WYSIWYG editor. So if I click the Customize tab on the header module and then click Edit Header Content, At the top of this page, I've got three options. The content template, and that's the default. This is company name, slogan, phone number. And then WYSIWYG editor next to it. And this is just a blank canvas that you can add content to, and you'll see you've got a number of different font options. So we'll just use this as an example. So a few different font options at least. And you can change the size of the text here. You can make it really large. You can change the color. So I'll make it red. Do all that. So it's kind of like editing a Word doc. And again, you can even add Flash. There's this little Flash button here. So you can add Flash to the WYSIWYG editor. Excuse me. You can upload images. You can add links. All of that. Click Save and Close. And now you've got, in this case, just my company, which is the only content that I entered in the WYSIWYG editor. One thing to note about the WYSIWYG editor, it's not how you would change the font of your content template. So if you want to change this font, you would do that through the theme editor. The WYSIWYG editor, again, just gives you a blank canvas to start from. So if I want to go back to the content template, I just click Content Template. You see that this content is still here. And now I click Save and Close. And I'm back to how I had it before. Okay. Can you make the header smaller? That's a good question. Maybe if whoever asked the question about the header, if you could clarify what you mean, if you mean shorter in terms of height or smaller in terms of width, I think that would help me answer it. Okay, I have a large photo that I couldn't reduce. Do I need to upgrade to get that setting? I think in most cases, for most of the modules that involve uploading a photo, there should be some option in the settings to manually change the dimensions of that photo. So I recommend mousing over the module, clicking Customize, and then clicking Edit Settings, and see if there's an option for entering a manual height and width. If there's not, again, I would recommend emailing or calling our support team, and we can take a look at that. Okay. Okay, so Lucia, who asked about changing the font of the title, says she meant the font of the title inside a module. That, that's a really good question. I think there is a way to do that through the theme editor, but I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know how to do that. I know that you can use the freeform editor for any module. So let me see. Why don't we cancel out of this? If I remove this module, and now I want to add a module to this column, you'll see at the top of the Add Module page is the Freeform Editor tab. And this is just another WYSIWYG editor. So same kind of thing that we saw before. You can change the font here. You can set the font size. And if I wanted to do a color in the background, I could do that. Now we'll just add it to the site, and let's see how this looks. Okay, so we've got our freeform editor content here. So again, you can create a new module using the freeform editor, and that gives you some flexibility pretty easily over the font that you use in that module. So that's what I would recommend doing. I'll check with our support team on how you would change the title of a module using the theme editor. Okay. Got some clarification from James, who asked about reducing the size of the header, making it shorter. So for that, there are a couple things that you can do. If you want to use the content template, I could, for instance, just get rid of the slogan. And let's see what happens there. That brings up the rest of the content on the page. So that's one pretty simple option. Or I can use, again, the WYSIWYG editor. I could reduce the size of this just a bit. And that brings up the content below it even more. You can also add upload a banner image for your header. So if we go back to the edit header content, I can click this banner image tab at the top. So here I actually have a banner image that I uploaded previously. So let's try using that. So this pushes the content back down a little bit. But again, I can control how tall this banner image is. So that's one way of making the header shorter. Good questions. Looks like I've gotten through all the questions that have been asked so far, but does anyone else have any other questions? All right, well, if there are no other questions, again, great questions. Thank you for asking those. If you have any other questions as you're going along, as you're building your site, again, take a look at our Help Center. There's really a lot of great information there, both tutorials and kind of website building references. So that's support.vflyer.com. We link to it from just about every page of our site. If you don't find your answer there, or you feel like talking to a real person, again, we have a support team that's here to help you. So you can reach us by email, by phone. If you just want some, if you want to bounce off some ideas about how you design your website, we're more than happy to talk with you about that. Doesn't have to be just how-to questions. So again, email, call us if you have any questions. But I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. I hope you learned something. And I hope that you'll kind of take this information and create your own beautiful websites. And once you publish them, definitely share them with us. We love to see websites that our users create. All right, well, thanks again, everyone, and have a great rest of the afternoon.